Cruise news time, and well, Carnival Cruise Line dropped a huge announcement yesterday impacting millions of cruisers. We also have an update from the beleaguered Royal Caribbean's Radiance of the Seas, and one of the most prominent Caribbean cruise ports is celebrating their 50th year of independence. I didn't even know this was a thing. From who, from when, from what? We're going to get into it. Cruise news and my views. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. I am your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news and views for your face. And let's jump right into today's cruise news headlines. Cruise news story number one, Carnival Cruise Line announced yesterday that coming up this weekend, September the 16th and the 17th, that they would be performing maintenance on their websites, including carnival.com, the My Cruise Manager website, and the travel agent website. All of those websites will be going down this weekend for maintenance. That means there will be no booking of cruises on those websites this weekend. That means there will be no online check-in. That means there will be no purchasing anything from the fun shops or from excursions, including drink packages and internet. It also means no dice. Did anybody get that reference from the thumbnail? Just wanted to get it out here quick in case you are a Carnival cruiser or you use that website to do your booking. If you've got anything that's time sensitive that needs to be done because you have an upcoming cruise, do it this week. Do it before the end of day Friday at 12 a.m. On Saturday. The website will be shutting down, and then it's classic IT. It will be back up in the evening sometime on Sunday. I would assume that Carnival has the standard methodology in place, that you have production servers, and then you have test servers, and that you have development servers, and whatever upgrades that they're doing on the website have gone through the process of everything that it needs to go to before you actually try it on your production systems. I'm trying not to squirrel off into IT land, but the big takeaway is no Carnival website this weekend. So if you've got stuff to do, make sure you get it done before that system goes down. I sure hope everything goes well this weekend, and we'll know pretty quick on Monday morning whether it was a success or not. Now, before we get to cruise news story number two, let me hit you with updates from previous shows. There's really not a lot of updates today, but I did want to mention that yesterday was the artist Ludacris's birthday. September the 11th. So shout out Luda. And for people that are new and uninitiated here, Luda is our inside joke. Many times I will attribute some famous song that we know is not written by Ludacris or performed by Ludacris to Ludacris with a shout out Luda. I thought I'd give you a peek behind the curtain. It is so funny. Like any day, do this. Any day that I shout out Luda, spend some time in the comments because it will drive some people crazy, the uninitiated who don't know the inside joke. Like the other day, I was saying that Riders on the Storm by The Doors was by Ludacris, and there was at least 5 comments where like, what? Rider? That's The Doors. Don't you know it? Yes, we do. We do know it's The Doors. That's why it's fun. And so to all of my brotherhood and sisterhood of inside Ludacris joke lovers, I give you this. I fell into a burning ring of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames, they went higher. And it burns, 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 that ring of... the classic Ring of Fire, written and performed by Ludacris. Shout out Luda. All right, enough of them shenanigans. Let's move on to cruise news story number two. I feel like Churchill or Nixon. What's that? Oh yeah, I did say I was done with the shenanigans. Sorry about that. All right, cruise news story number two. Royal Caribbean Radiance of the Seas has been having issues in Alaska. It started a few weeks ago with a propulsion issue as they were out cruising around ice-filled waters, which fueled speculation that something happened with the ice, but we don't know for sure. All we know is that the ship was broken and it had to cancel 2 cruises, but wait, it's not going to be canceled anymore. Royal Caribbean coming out saying that the next sailing of the Radiance of the Seas, starting on September the 15th in just a few days, will be going. So that's good news. Are you on the Radiance of the Seas soon? Are you excited? Leave a comment below. Now, I have to tell you about the very popular Caribbean cruise port that is celebrating their independence But before I do that, I'm working out this thing in my brain. There's a huge debate in the YouTube education community whether it is important or not to have a call to action. Some people believe that if you do not ask, you do not receive. That's biblical. And so there's some YouTubers that I don't know if they're biblical or not, but they believe in that philosophy that you should ask for like people to subscribe or people to hit the like button or people to comment. And then there's a whole nother set of YouTube educators that don't believe that there's any value in that. I've done my own independent research. I do see more likes and subscribes and all that kind of stuff when I do a call to action, but I like to try to mix up the call to action. I like to make it different. So I don't like to say, hey, like, subscribe, comment, blah, 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 that kind of thing. I try to make it interesting. And so today I'm not even going to do a call to action. I'm not going to ask you to like or subscribe. The buttons are right below. If I was going to ask you, I would tell you that, but I won't do that today. But I know some people will be sad because it's in the call to action that I usually do cruise hands or cruise jazz hands. And so just in that vein, I just want to say, I hope everybody's going to be out there soon on cruise ships doing some cruising. All right, no call to action today, but I'm assuming everybody's already subscribed. Thank you in advance. Okay, the Bahamas. I didn't know this. This is crazy. There's a few things when it comes to the Bahamas. When you mention the Bahamas as a Caribbean island, there's going to be some geographical purists out there that are going to be like, au contraire, mon frere. The Bahamas are not in the Caribbean Sea. They are in the Atlantic Ocean. And well, Poindexter, you would be correct. The geographical location of the Bahamas, the majority of the islands, all that stuff, in the Atlantic Ocean. However, they are considered to be a part of the Caribbean in almost every other aspect. So put your geographical mind to ease and go ahead and accept the Bahamas into the Caribbean. But what I did not know is that the Bahamas have only been an independent nation for 50 years. So if you want to, like I did earlier, go on a little historical trip with me, we can do that. Now, thinking back to the 15th, 16th, even 17th century, you will be reminded that folks in Europe had colonization in mind. It was the great age of imperialism, where they would send explorers out and they would conquer lands and take them from the native people. That's a whole conversation, but that is the history of the thing. Now, in that vein, let's jump back to 1649, where English Puritans, the same folks that ended up going over to the United States, English Puritans made their way to the Bahamas and they established a settlement there. Then if we jump forward to the 1780s, you have the Spanish taking an interest and taking some sort of ownership of the Bahamas. And then after one of the many Spanish and British wars, there was a ceding of the Bahamas to Great Britain. This happened in 1783. And then the Bahamas remained under British control until 1973, like 2 years after I was born, 1973, when they finally gained independence. It was a peaceful relationship with Great Britain and a peaceful move to independence. But that year, 1973, 50 years ago, and so they're having big celebrations in the Bahamas for their 50th year independence. Carnival Cruise Line has joined them in those celebrations. It's pretty interesting. Like, I knew cursory that most of the islands in the Caribbean had some sort of colonization. I didn't realize that was true with the Bahamas. They're still a part of the Commonwealth, the British Commonwealth. I know a lot of times we think of Nassau as the main spot in the Bahamas, but many of the cruise line's private islands are also there in the Bahamas. I don't know if you guys are big fans of history. I've always been a fan of history, but I heard some joke the other day that said that's one true sign of middle age is that when you start like, oh, I want to watch a World War II documentary, but I'm full on in that. Boom, that's your cruise news for September the 12th, 2023. I realized I didn't say the date earlier, so hopefully you made it this long to know what day I'm talking about. But yes, those are your stories. It's time for you to sound off in the comments. Leave a comment below. This is Tony for La Lido Loca, and until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.